Hello, I am Mahnur Iftihar. I have completed my master's in software engineering from Muhammad Jinnah University. Today, I'm going to give you an overview regarding the domain topic of data structure, that is array. First of all, let me give you a brief introduction of what is a data structures. Data structure is basically a means of organizing and storing data in computer in such a way that we can perform the operations on stored data more efficiently. For suppose, obviously in computers, we need to store our data and perform all the calculations and everything which we are going to do with our data. So it should be stored in a very efficient way. So those efficient way, you can say, is basically how we are and what data structure which we are going to select for the usage of particular data in our code. Then what it also helps us to organize the data in the computer, resulting in more efficient programs. Efficient program is basically the way of usage of resources like memory in a very efficient way. You can say minimize the usage of resources and foster the execution of our code. So this all combines using our programming language, data structure, and algorithm. These three things combine and makes a very efficient code which we are going to use or apply on a particular data. Lastly, the data structures have a wide and diverse scope of usage across the fields of computer science and software engineering. It's used to store anything in a computer. But whatever you can think of, you can basically store it. Either it's starting from a numbers to a list of students, you can say grades or everything like that. Next, the topic which we are going to cover in the domain of data structure was the arrays. So what is an array? Array is basically, you can think of, for a non-technical person, we can think of as a boxes of train which we are connected in a particular order, or you can say a continuous memory location. So in the same way, array is basically where the elements are stored or arranged in a memory continuously. All the elements of an array are of the same data type. We are going to discuss what is a data type and what can be the data types of which we can store the elements of the array. And the type of the elements that we can store in the form of array is determined by the programming language. Basically, there are different programming languages. So starting from C to whatever language you are going to, there are different declaration formats which we will be seeing. If we got the time to obviously do that, we are going to discuss it in the C++ programming language right now in this lecture. So after giving the overview, or you can say visualization, of how non-technical person could think of an array, this is how it's going to be stored, or you can visualize in terms of our side, like domain or field of computer science, you can say. It is a continuous memory location, as we have discussed. So there are three boxes over here which are stored, and it is having 1, 2, and 3 elements in it. We have array name over here. Then there's an index, means which particular location we are going to target in the array. Then lastly, we have the size, or we can say the number of elements which we are going to store and how much memory location we are going to use. Declaration of an array. Obviously, as I mentioned, that we are going to do this in a C++ programming language. So how we are going to declare the array in that programming language, let's see it. The typical declaration for an array in C++ is like this. Firstly, we are going to mention the type. Second, name, space, we are going to mention the elements. Elements either depends which you want to store the elements, or you can say size as well. Okay. So the type, the valid types which all can like store the data is integer. Integer means numbers, 1, 2, 3, which we have seen in the previous example of the slide. Then we have float. Float is basically the decimal numbers. Then we have obviously the characters or alphabets, we can say, if we are going to store the names of the students. Moving on, we have the name. Name means the name which we are going to use, or which we are going to call for an array. Okay, it depends whatever name you can like use for calling it. Then thirdly, we have the elements field, means whatever number which we are going to use. If we are going to declare an array of 10 elements, obviously, so we have to include that 10 number in our brackets. Okay, let's see, or let's have a look at a code which we will be using for the declaration of array, as well as how we print the elements of the array. First, we have declared an array over here of int type. Int means that we are going to store a whole numbers. Whole numbers starting from 0 till whatever number you can think of, but it wouldn't be having any decimal value in it, because we have seen that integer stores only numbers, whole numbers in itself. Then we have named our array as array, and the number of elements that it's going to store is 5. Means 5 elements we can think of and we can store it in it. First, we have at the 0th position we are going to store 10. On the first position we are going to store 20. Second position 30. Third position we have fourth position we have is 40, and fifth position or the last position is 20. One most important point that needs to be added over here is the index value of array starts with 0. Okay, if we are going to store the values manually in it like in this manner, so we'll starting from 0, and if we are going to address any number over there, so you can see कि हम नीचे उसको कैसे डिक्लेयर कर रहे होते हैं. Then we have a for loop over here. Okay, the for loop is basically used to like print the values of the array. So output is displayed on the right hand side. Firstly, it is mentioned array contents, as you can see in the outputs. Then at the array 0th position we have a 10 value. Array 1 position we have 20 value. Array third position but second index number we have 30 value. Array 4th position we have 40 value, and array 5th position, that is the index value 4, we have 20th value. So this was a very short you can say overview of what an array is. This was it for today's lecture. Thank you so much.